Your life has been shaped. Your life has been shaped. My life has been shaped. All of our lives have been shaped by the words that were spoken to us, the words that were spoken over us, and the words that were spoken about us.
Hey guys, let's talk about words. I never realized the importance of words in my life. I didn't realize how impactful they were in my wife's life. I didn't realize for the first couple of years of our marriage how my words were deeply impacting the way my wife was feeling and living her life. This is a clip from Andy Stanley going over the importance of words in our lives, the words that we speak over others, and the words that have been spoken over us.
So, guys, have you ever asked a woman when she's due, and she wasn't? I think the average guy does this on average just one time. Unfortunately, I am above average. Yeah, so we all have those moments, because the problem is once our words are out there, they're just out there. And the good news is God gave us all this button, but what we really needed was this button, right? We could all hit pause but the rewind button is what we all need. So, as you know, words are powerful. Words are extraordinarily powerful. In fact, your life has been shaped. Your life has been shaped. My life has been shaped. All of our lives have been shaped by the words that were spoken to us, the words that were spoken over us, and the words that were spoken about us. Words shaped our childhood experiences. Words are shaping your marriages and your most intimate relationships. Words impact your confidence, your self-confidence. Words impact who you see when you look in the mirror. And the thing that makes this so fascinating and so difficult and so challenging is that the words that we receive and the words that we speak are not equally weighted, are they? In fact, how many more positives does it take to counter one negative? I don't even know what the number is. There are actually some statistics, but it depends on what is said. It takes a whole lot more positive words, many, many more positive words to counter a single negative content. And not only are the words not weighted the same, the source isn't equally weighted. See, I'm a boss. My words weigh 150 pounds. In fact, every once in a while, my administrative assistant, I'll be ready to march down the hall or go talk to somebody. She'll say, Andy, let me talk to them. My words only weigh 20 pounds. Your words weigh 120 pounds. And perhaps the most overlooked part of this dynamic is that the recovery time isn't the same either. Recovery time isn't equally weighted, right? The hurt, when you hear somebody say something hurtful to you, it hurts immediately, but recovery takes time. In fact, no amount of words to the contrary create immediate healing or recovery. And this is why it's so ridiculous when we say, but I said I'm sorry, right? I said I'm sorry. The implication is, why aren't you fine now? Why aren't we back to where we were before I said what I said? Well, for the same reason that if I accidentally slam your hand in my car door, and then I open my car door and you pull out your mangled fingers and I say, I'm so sorry, it was an accident. Well, we're not equal again, you're not whole again, we still have to go to the emergency room. Because I'm sorry does not reduce the need for a trip to the ER, right? And the same is true for our words. Our words hurt, and more words don't immediately make things better. They are not equally weighted. Now, James, the brother of Jesus, writes a letter to the first century Christians, and he has a lot to say about the power of words. Now, if you're not a Christian or a religious person, that's okay. This is for everybody. And when James wrote these words, he had Christians in mind, but you're about to be introduced to some extraordinary insight. And I just want you to keep in mind, this is in the New Testament, and these words were penned by James, the brother of Jesus. Here's how he begins the discussion. He says, we all stumble in many ways. He says, anyone, that'd be all of us, anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect. We all stumble in lots of ways, but anybody who gets control of their mouth is perfect. They're able to keep, what do you mean by perfect? He tells us, they're able to keep their entire body in check. In other words, gain control of your mouth, gain control of your words, and you will keep your entire body out of trouble. He says, let me illustrate it for you. First illustration, something from his world. We, he would say, When we put bits into the mouths of horses, this is his world, he says, to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. He says, if you get control of the mouth of the horse, you can control the entire animal. So James says, likewise, the tongue, even though it is a small part of the body, it makes great boast. It has extraordinary influence and power. Consider, he says, consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. Something so small. Don't laugh. You have the same problem at home with these things, don't you? I mean, does anybody get it to light the first click? No? Okay, oops, there we go. Something so small, something so small, something so vast. Something so small, something so vast. There is no logical correlation. The tongue also is a fire. A world, he's so negative, a world of evil among the parts of the body, that your tongue, your mouth, your words has the potential for endless evil. It also has the potential for endless good. But he's focused on the negative. It has potential for endless evil. Every kind, think about it, every kind of evil can be initiated by the mouth, by words, by the tongue. Murder can be initiated because of an argument. Wars have been started over words. And we are all born with our pilot lights lit. He says it gets worse. The mouth, the tongue, words, it actually has the power to corrupt the entire body. He says it has the potential, going back to the fire imagery, to set the course of one's entire life on fire, the whole course of your life. As your words go, so goes your life. As your words go, so go your relationships. And you have the potential, I have the potential to burn down a relationship with my words, burn down my marriage with my words, burn down my relationship with my kids and my friends with my words, burn down my career, burn down my future with my words. And the truth is, it's a little bit convicting, some of us have scorched the people we love the most with our words. And then when we're confronted, how do we respond? We defend ourselves. And what do we defend ourselves with? More words. Well, I was just being honest. Well, I was just mad. Well, I was drunk. Well, I didn't mean it. But the truth is, and you know this, you're intelligent people. If you start a fire accidentally, you are still responsible for the fire that you started. And if you start a fire with your words and it's an accident, you're still responsible for that fire. So I want to give you these three words. The three words are remember, surrender, and confess. And the idea of remember is this, and this is James' point, is remember the power that you have. You don't feel this, you are a very powerful person. You are a powerful person, you have extraordinary power. Remember that every single time you open your mouth, especially when you're angry, especially when you're frustrated, especially when you're kind of wound up. And again, you were born with your pilot light lit. At any moment, just remember your potential for good and your potential for evil is really unlimited. Remember that. And then the second word, surrender, comes from the fact that, hey, if this is such a big deal and if we have the potential to burn down relationships and burn down the people we love the most, and some of us have been scorched by other people, so we've developed some bad habits in terms of how we respond, then we need to surrender this formidable weapon to our Heavenly Father. Basically, this is an invitation for us to surrender our mouths and our words to our Father in heaven. So let me give you kind of a sort of a first start or a way to start. You might be a person that prays every morning. You may never pray. Here's a simple prayer that goes right to the heart of what James is talking about. Heavenly Father, remind me to be quick to listen, slow to speak. And then the third word is to confess. And that is when you mess up, and James says you're going to mess up. This isn't an if, this is a when. But when you mess up and when those words come out, immediately you just confess. Don't explain. Come on, stop explaining. Don't excuse. Own the fires you have begun with your words. Just own them. Own the scorching sarcasm that's been a habit your whole life and cut it out. There is no place, maybe you've heard this before, there is no place for sarcasm in family. None. There is no place for sarcasm in marriage. There is no place for sarcasm in parenting. Everybody might chuckle, but you have wounded someone with your sarcasm. So confess it immediately and break that habit. Quick to listen, slow to speak. Last thing, for those of you who grew up in homes or grew up in environments where words were used against you, where you were scorched over and over and over and over, Please, for the sake of the next generation, don't repeat that cycle. You will be inclined to repeat this cycle. You have already heard coming out of your mouth the very same thing you heard coming out of your father or your mother or your grandfather or some other person in your life's mouth. Don't repeat that cycle. Decide that you're going to break it, because words are powerful. They have extraordinary and unlimited power for good as well as evil. Your mouth cannot be tamed. It can only be guarded. And by God's grace, and with some thoughtfulness on your part, it can be controlled.